Welcome to episode 8 of A Wild Podcast Has Appeared. Yes! The official Pokemon podcast of Pokemon, not Pokemon.com, Comicbook.com. We are not the official Pokemon podcast. We're the official Pokemon podcast of Comicbook.com.
But hey, we come off so legit.
I know we do. Yeah. We come off
so legit.
So legit that I even confuse myself sometimes.
I mean, I've been operating under that pretense the whole time I've been here.
I am your host, Jim Viscardi, and as always, I am here with my other hosts, Megan Peters and Christian Hoffer. Guys, welcome.
Hello.
If you are new to the show, A Wild Podcast Has Appeared comes out every Thursday wherever podcasts can be found. Your iTunes, your Stitchers, your Pocket Casts, your iHeartRadio, you name it. If you can listen to a podcast on it, we be there, for sure. Show's broken out into really two parts. This is how it goes. We do a bit of a news breakdown, and today we have a bit of news to go through. Mm-hmm. And then we do a bit of a deep dive. And everyone's favorite part at the very, very end, Christian gives us a Pokemon fact. I've read the question, and I have no idea who it is. I did not cheat, and but I am worried about it. I'm worried about what the answer is going to be.
Do we need a content warning, Hoffer?
No, it's creepy, but not gross.
Okay, good, because I have not eaten lunch yet.
Yeah, perfect. Also on this show, like I said, we cover everything Pokemon. Whether it's the console games, the trading card games, the anime, Pokemon Go, Pokemon stuff, plush, whatever, we cover it all. So, we are a week removed from E3.
Yes.
Where we got a bunch of information. So if you want to hear us break all of that big E3 stuff down, just go back an episode and listen to it. Otherwise, we're going to talk about it more today. A bunch of stuff happening in the Pokemon Go space, including a oopsie. Looks like Niantic put out a shiny Abra and a Clefairy and then said, oh, crap.
Yeah. So Pokemon Go Fest was last weekend, and at the very start of the event, we were supposed to get shiny Horsey.
Right.
That was supposed to pop up everywhere. And when people got to the event, they're like, there's no shiny Horseys here, but there are shiny Abra and Clefairy there. It took Niantic about 30 minutes to kind of realize what happened. They pulled them, shiny Horsey came and came into the game. And the speculation is that we'll get Abra and Clefairy later this summer. I'll note that you can currently technically get shiny Clefairy in the game already, because Cleffa, the baby version, can be hatched from eggs. But you can't find shiny Clefairy in the wild.
Huh. I mean, I'm going to admit I would rather have caught the shiny Clefairy in the wild or the Horsey. No offense, Horsey. I love you very much. But I was confused for a second because I know a friend of mine does have a shiny Clefairy, but now that you've explained Cleffa, who is also my small child.
But did people catch the Abra and Clefairy?
Yeah.
Did they get to keep them, or did Niantic take them away?
No, they kept them. I mean, it's not like the Articuno that got out back in 2016,
right?
Where they put that one away.
Yeah, I remember. That's why I asked. I remember that.
Yeah,
that was a big deal.
Yeah,
there were so many heartbroken people.
That I mean, it's in the context of the game. It makes no difference. It's just an Abra with different colors.
Don't talk down about my Abra. I love Abra.
I mean, Abra's fine. It's just shiny Abra makes no different than non-shiny Abra.
That's the green one, right? Shiny Abra.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
I'm not even gonna go down the road of me not liking.
I will just say the shinies I hate most are the green ones.
They're the ugliest.
Followed shortly by any yellow ones.
Because they just all look sick.
I know, they have jaundice. I'm like, you need to go to a Pokemon center.
Especially the ones that are like you said, that are originally yellow, that have just a tint of that green. They just look like they are seasick. And I was like, ugh.
It's like, you deserve better than this.
I haven't seen the shiny Clefairy. What does the shiny Clefairy look like?
It has blue-tipped ears instead of black ears. That's basically all the difference.
That makes a lot of sense. That's on brand.
That's on brand for Chinese.
Yes, I mean, I do like it. I will admit, it kind of looks like a little puff of cotton candy. That's my opinion.
Also in the Pokemon Go front, Kyogre is back.
Kyogre is back. He's back.
Now you say it.
Yeah, it's
Kyogre.
Kyogre.
Oh, okay.
Kyogre.
Well, all right. Last time we started talking about some Pokemon, we all had different pronunciations. So I wanted to make sure we're all on the same page here.
That
Yep,
one was always
yep.
easy for me because it was like Kai, like a
Oh,
weird
and
Dragon Ball
right.
thing, and then Ogre, Shrek. So
I actually didn't realize how Kyogre was pronounced. They came out with these Mega Evolution specials on the Pokemon anime a few years ago, and one of them features Kyogre. And like I never tried to pronounce Kyogre out loud, and they had an entire episode where everyone's screaming Kyogre, Kyogre. It's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. But anyways, yeah, back in raids. From now until I think the 27th, and there's not really like a set reason for it, other than we get some extra bonuses this week because we completed the global challenges that were tied to Pokemon Go Fest. So we get like double hatch candy, double catch candy, decreased hatch distance, and there's one thing I'm forgetting. But Kyogre's
I like when Christian says "we," because I mean they are the global challenges, and so it's just
yeah,
that's a fun thing that Pokemon Go does, where it's just like we all have done it.
yeah, I had to team
Together.
up with someone in like, I don't know, Morocco,
yeah.
which is awesome.
listen,
Me
I
and that
completed
player.
4 of the 46 million
Yeah.
field research tasks. I contributed, damn it.
I contributed so hard. I lost. I am out of incubators also right now. Can we just have a moment to mourn that? Because I also don't want to spend money on any more right now. But inevitably, this weekend's going to come around. I'm going to go to the zoo and be like,
The zoo is the best place.
yes, the
go.
zoo is
Yeah.
an amazing place here.
Like
in
now, when my
Nashville.
kid says, "I want to go to the zoo," and I'm like, "Let's go!"
Yeah. Like regularly, I'm like, is it time? Zoo time. It is time. There are Pokestops
That-
everywhere.
My yearly zoo membership has just doubled in its value
Yes, absolutely.
for sure. But anyway, sorry, Christian, you were saying so we get the extra candies.
Yeah. And
Oh,
there's extra raid candy. You're always guaranteed at least one raid candy. And so this runs all this week. It'll end next Tuesday.
So if people were building a team or picking Pokemon to use against Kyogre, who would you say we should
Electric
use?
type Pokemon. Use electric type Pokemon. Oh, God, I can't speak today. Electric type Pokemon unless it's sunny. If it's sunny, use grass types. So the big electric types are Raikou, Zapdos, Electivire. You can use Mewtwo if it has Thunderbolts. That does just fine. Some solid grass ones are Venusaur, Breloom, Executor. I think that's about it. There's one or two other ones, but yeah, grass.
Executor has become like low key, like OP
Yes.
type Pokemon.
Yeah, for a while it
he
was
kind of
strong.
always has been. Then they nerfed him a little bit, but now he's back to being like
It's coming up from the ashes, much like Rocky.
Well, he's got the Alolan, gives him that resistance
Yes.
to fire and a couple other things, which that's pretty handy because it's a grass dragon type instead of grass poison.
I remember the first time I found like an Alolan Executor like in the wild, and I was like outside the YMCA, and I just finished a really intense workout, and I was like, I can't even, like, it was so big, and it was like just when it came out there, like its head was cut off, and I was like, this is
Yeah.
a glitch. Like Niantic has just messed up. This is not real, because I just hadn't like been in the loop at that point, and I kind of was like, nope, okay, fine. So I have a couple
That's
of
my
them
favorite
now.
part is you can't actually see it. It's like the aiming the targeting system just is like its stomach.
Yeah.
You don't even see its head.
Just get a solid gut punch in, and that's how you get it.
Moving on from the Pokemon Go side of things, as we're recording this, it's going live, but we've all have seen it. So Adi Shankar of the Bootleg universe, so he did a Power Rangers one, he's done a few others, but also the showrunner on Castlevania, has just put out a R-rated,
Very R-rated.
very hard R-rated Pokemon short. It's animated, and holy moly,
Yes.
it's dark.
It's dark. Have you gotten to see it, Hoffer?
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, that's not the enthusiasm.
I know Christian is immediately going to hate it.
I knew that was going to happen.
Christian immediately going to hate it.
Break down the reasons why you hate it.
Well, okay. It covers kind of the thing that everyone realizes about the Pokemon franchise when you squint at it a little bit. On its surface, the Pokemon franchise is all about collecting these animals and, you're showing the power of friendship, and then you squint a little bit harder and you realize it's cage fighting with animals. And so I appreciate that, we got yet another look at that entire concept. I mean, that it's a time-honored tradition for people to make like edgy Pokemon content. We're like, Pokemon is actually animal fighting? It's like, yes, we all know this.
Yes.
I will say that this is better done than other ones.
Yeah.
I like
Yes,
the
very much
sequence.
so.
There's an action sequence where Ash like invades a ship and he's like killing people left and right. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It was weird. I love Adi Shankar stuff.
Yes.
Castlevania is one of my favorite animated shows the last like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nothing against him. It's nothing against the quality of animation, but I like my Pokemon franchise made for kids and also slightly creepy.
Yes. Well, for people who probably don't know what we're talking about, the short is called The End of Pokemon, which already dark AF. But basically it follows Ash Ketchum, who's finally an adult. He's no longer 12. He's also jacked. He has been working out. He is so ridiculously buff, guys. He's basically trying to get, revenge against the society of like Pokemon training culture and the cage matches, which Hoffer was talking about, after the mysterious death of Pikachu. And it's this whole like kind of like V for Vendetta, like charge against society mixed with like the Dark Knight Joker aspects of like his cult being like masked.
In that, so like he's leading this group.
Yes,
cult. Cult, and they're all wearing like Pokemon masks.
Yeah, and they're trying like in this system, but Giovanni's the main villain of Team Rocket, and he's like, well, if I can't make money off the matches, then I'm going to enjoy the violence, which is very much Giovanni-esque. But then they bring in like Super JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like eccentric Team Rocket. So definitely check it out. It's on the Adi Shankar's Bootleg Universe YouTube channel. That's where you can watch it right now.
Or Comicbook.com.
Or Comicbook.com. I'm trying to plug both of us here. And we will be talking with Adi Shankar and have content from him about this because they just, no spoilers, but there's some gratuitous Pokemon deaths.
Oh yeah.
Just so like be aware.
Like there is an opening fight scene with a Venusaur and a Ninetales that I was just like, what? Like that like for anyone out there who's like, I want those realistic Pokemon fights, this is for you. It was so weird. It was almost so over the top that it kind of felt a bit goofy at some points. Like it felt like Metalocalypse meets Pokemon.
Yeah, it had a little bit of that Kill Bill aspect, where there's so much gore. It's just like, okay, this is, just. But
there's a ton of Pokemon shown in this, which is especially that boat scene where it just like there's a bunch of just water Pokemon sort of captured in a net, and there's like a Tentacruel and whatnot, and they just open up and they fall.
There's one scene where he throws a Primate up and the Primate gets shot in the head.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But like I think there's two scenes. One of them, it explores the question of what happens if you try to capture a human in a Pokeball. And I was legitimately horrified because I was like, never again.
I thought that Christian could not stop laughing when he said, "Oh yeah, that scene with the Primate," and I'm like, "Oh, geez, Christian."
Dark.
I like the over the top, really just like the gory to the point where it's humorous. There's that movie like the hide and seek, the evil hide and seek movie that's coming out soon. And that thing looks so ridiculous. I can't wait to see it. I love that sort of stuff. So, it wasn't the violence that turned me off to it, because that sort of stuff is so ridiculous. I thought it was funny as heck. But, I like my Pokemon franchise pure.
Yeah, this definitely isn't something the Pokemon Company will ever
Right.
officially recognize.
So that's what I was gonna say. So
anything,
like we'll never get this obviously from the
No.
Pokemon Company, but clearly there's an audience for it, right? Like there is an audience that wants their, it's that Zack Snyder audience, right? Like they like their stuff a little darker. Is there room for not this dark, but something potentially a bit more serious? Like obviously more serious than what we got in Detective Pikachu, but like, a bit more of a more serious take on Pokemon.
I definitely think so. I don't know if it would ever, in terms of like ratings, hit an R.
Oh yeah, no.
But like I could see like a serious
Detective
like
Pikachu was PG, right?
yeah, like I could see like a serious, thoughtful PG-13 like exploration of like the concept, kind of like this. I could see that. And done well and done respectfully, still with probably the thing that would get it most would be like language and humor. Probably not so much the violence, but in no way, shape, or form could I ever see the Pokemon Company being like, we approve.
You don't
it would
think
have
that-
to, everyone who's currently an executive at the company would have to retire or leave.
Well, I ask
That's what
because there is a generation of fans that is now older, right? Like kind of our age, a little bit older, etc. That I would imagine would, the Pokemon Company would want to keep that audience. I mean, that audience is also having kids and whatnot, and so there's still the bubbly, fun, and pure Pokemon that Christian loves so much. But I don't know, like I would even think like a drama TV series, or I don't know, it could be interesting.
Well, yeah, we were talking about this yesterday on Slack, and it's like, one of these days we're going to get something that kind of like, we'll remember these Pokemon journeys are all with these like kids on the cusp of becoming adults. They're all like 11, 12-year-olds, raging hormones, and then like in the Pokemon world, it's like, okay, kids, go off on a journey by yourself, no parental supervision, go wild. I feel like that's the direction that we'll one day get, is like an actual examination of what's it like to be a Pokemon trainer in these worlds where you're
What's it like to be 12 years old and living out on your own?
Yeah, it's like, like there's so much drugs and sex going on in the Pokemon world. Like I guarantee it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the angle that we'll get. We won't get this like gratuitous violence type of thing, but we could get some weird stuff. I mean, the Pokemon Company hired Junji Ito, who's like one of the is horror manga creators of all time, just like one of the best in the world. And they hired him to do some really creepy stuff with Pokemon. So I mean, I feel like they realize there's an audience here for that sort of stuff. It's just you don't want the kids finding this.
Yeah.
Or if you want kids finding it, you want them not to realize what's going on.
Yeah, like now that Hoffer has said that, if it's not like a salacious higher rating, like a horror film, like bring me Haunter, or like bring me something like that, like a horror actual like embracing. It might not have like the show deaths and stuff, but like a legitimate horror film, like totally doable. And they've hinted at that in the anime from time to time, but then they've always interrupted every serious moment with gags. So they just like removed those gags and expanded it. Yeah, like I'd be scared.
Like I would love a movie where Gengar just is like terrorizing like a group of people in a mansion, and we never find out what happens to him. Like leave it ambiguous.
Yeah.
That course, there's room for that sort of stuff. Easy.
Now I want
or just
it.
like psychic Pokemon being used to like reprogram, just like
Yeah, like terrifying stuff. Like
I mean, heck, in Pokemon X and Y, they had this entire subplot where a Malamar was trying to like take over the world, and they were like, brainwashing humans and stuff. It like ran for like, there was a 3 or 4 episode plot line about that, where just like evil squid monsters are like brainwashing humans and Pokemon and getting them to do their will to take over the world.
Yeah.
Like we could absolutely have stuff like that. Just, I feel like if you focus on the fact that we're forcing animals to fight each other, that knocks over the entire house of cards.
So just no more edgelord Pokemon, but
Yeah.
All right. When we get back, we are going to talk more Sword and Shield, and have the fans started to revolt? More on that when we get back. All right. Sword and Shield news came out last week from E3. And the elephant in the room, and we talked about it here, was that there is no national Pokedex. Not every Pokemon's going to be in the game. People are pissed.
They are livid.
People lost it. It's insane. I debated whether or not we should even talk about this more because I didn't want to give this the time of day. But this is the conversation of the week in the Pokemon community. So so I figure we should probably talk about it. So after this announcement got made, people lost it. They totally revolted against Game Freak. They called them a shoddy company, that they didn't know what they were doing when it came to the Pokemon franchise. And now people are getting really stupid about it, where they're like comparing Pokemon Sword and Shield to Pokemon Stadium and saying, oh, the animation in Pokemon Stadium is better than Pokemon Sword and Shield. Look at these examples. And it's like, no, that's really dumb.
Yep.
I mean, it's like mass hysterics, but
well, it's so a lot of it is stemming from the core root that people are having an issue with is if you haven't heard yet, in Sword and Shield, you will not be able to bring over any Pokemon that you want. There will only be a set amount in the game. They have not said who's coming and who's not. But
there's like 170 Pokemon species confirmed just so far. So,
and Sun and Moon had how many?
450.
Right. So, but from one angle, I can see potentially where this is coming from, right? Because this is the first game for the Switch. It is a decided upgrade from every other game that we have seen in the franchise before. The Pokemon Company is going all out and introducing things like Pokemon Home, and there's a ton of Pokemon available for you in Pokemon Go, and so then they had the previous stuff with Bank and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That on paper it feels like this is something that they were basically building towards, building towards a true next gen game. Right, because I don't count the graduation from the Game Boy to the Game Boy Advance to the 3DS and all that jazz. I don't count that really as more like next generation type stuff because that was basically the same engine with on the same platform. The Switch to me is while yes you can bring it on the go and whatnot, it's truly a different environment than the Game Boy games have been.
Yeah.
And so you would think that you would hope that they were given more time to bring more stuff in and make it a truly next gen giant gaming experience. Because I think if this was a game that would have been on the PlayStation or the Xbox, you would have gotten every single Pokemon. I think the money and the resources that would have gone into a game that would have gone to a console, like a heavy duty console, is different than I would say potentially the resources for the Switch.
But look, like we have stuff like the video game industry right now has been filled with all these like horror stories about crunch.
Absolutely.
We get these games like Red Dead Redemption 2 where it comes out that these people are working like 120-hour weeks or like the stupid things. And the games, like Red Dead Redemption 2 was fine, but it's like, did we really need to see like, they had horse testicles that, would drop based on the weather conditions. Was that really necessary? And
that probably not.
But yeah,
probably.
So we hear stories like that, and they straight up said, listen, we had a limited amount of time.
Yep.
We wanted to make sure the animation needed to be better here. If you take a look at Pokemon Let's Go and you compare it to Pokemon Sun and Moon, the animations are totally different. These look like real creatures. They have 3 times as many animations.
Yep.
Just standing there. They're not just static Pokemon like they were before. That stuff takes time, and I just think they didn't have the time and they didn't have the manpower, and I don't think that it was a case of like, oh well, they were being cheap about it. I think they just simply realized that because Nintendo wants them to put out a Pokemon game every single year. It's been that way for 6-7 years now, going back, at least Pokemon Sun. So this is the 4th consecutive year that we've had a Pokemon game. They only have 2 programming teams.
Yeah.
They just have a limited amount of resources, and they decided. And listen, I'm not happy that we're not getting a national Dex either. I'm not defending that decision. I would have rather had a delay in the game.
Well, but that's the thing. Like another other big news that came out of the Nintendo presentation at E3 is they delayed Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
and people lost their crap about it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would rather people lose their crap about them delaying a game for that than
Well,
the
but
flip
Animal
side.
Crossing's not Pokemon. We know Pokemon's going to sell. This game's going to sell bonkers.
Right.
Just because people are whining about it, it's still going to sell really well. This is their big winter release. This is the game that's going to be under everyone's Christmas trees and given to people at Hanukkah and all the other holidays. This is that game. Animal Crossing's not that game. If they put it out for holiday season, it would do okay because we haven't gotten Animal Crossing in 6-7 years. But it's not going to do Pokemon numbers. I mean, let's be realistic. I don't think delay was an option for 'em.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not happy. Like I said, I'm not happy about this either. I'm not
When they donate
defending.
to the Bulbasaur, he's gonna lose his shit.
Yeah. The thing that I have the conversation that I've had multiple conversations about with people online or in the office or with my friends is that, I mean, Hoffer just said it, delay was not an option for Nintendo. They had,
They got to make that Q4 money.
yeah, they had Let's Go come out. It did well, and they need that Q4 money. It's very much a business decision, and we're not privy to all those details. But the thing that really struck me is, not only did they delay, Animal Crossing, but the more Game Freak has talked about it and Nintendo has talked about it, saying that they didn't want to crunch the staff that they had more so than necessary because they didn't want to expand their resource pool for, making this project necessarily. For me, that still just kind of seems unfair. They might not be making these people work 120 hours like the people who worked on Red Dead Redemption, but they are coming out with a kind of subpar product. And so the thing that I keep comparing it to is that Pokemon Sword and Shield is going to be like Skyward Sword for the Zelda franchise. It came out, was a very well-received story, and it has the worst gameplay mechanics. Everyone hates how the game functionally operates. But whatever comes next, whatever Nintendo learns from this and is working on with Game Freak for next, in my belief and in my hope, it'll be like Breath of the Wild.
I wouldn't necessarily go as far as say it's going to be a subpar game. I think because the things that we're asking for are more would be additive as opposed to sort of eliminating the experience. I mean, sure, being able to bring other Pokemon in and as part of that experience is a thing. Like I saw some people being like, I brought my Squirtle along to every game, and I've been able to play with it. He's a family member to me, basically, and I get that.
Yeah.
But what we've said is like this game is going to make bonkers money. Surely they know it's going to make bonkers money. Why not bring in additional resources to potentially get it done?
I think that's a very valid argument without being able to dig into Game Freaks. I mean, let's realize that the Pokemon Company is only 1/3 owned by Game Freak.
Yep.
Unlike Nintendo, Game Freak solely relies on that Pokemon money. They don't have like the extra resources here. So they only see like 1/3 of this. And I think that makes an impact. I mean, we look at Pokemon and say it's $1 billion franchise. But Game Freak it's a relatively small company. It only has, I think, between 100 and 150 employees. Bringing in like another programming team of 20 to 30 people, I mean, would it really make that much of a difference in terms of sales? I mean, you guys know me. I'm a banker by trade, and I look at this as a cost benefit thing, and I think that they just took a look at it and realized that hiring on that more staff wouldn't result in a significant increase of sales. Now, I think they blew the explanation here.
Yes.
And I think that people would be a lot less pissed if they said, listen, when this game comes out, we're not going to have the full Pokemon, every Pokemon in here, but we're going to add like 20 a week or something like that, or even 20 a month.
Yeah.
And like people would be like, oh, well, that's kind of sucky, but I guess I get it. And, when the next game comes out, they'll have the full national Pokedex, and that'd be fine. And I think that, honestly, because of the backlash, we're going to get something like that. Eventually, you will get every Pokemon available in Pokemon Sword and Shield, I guarantee it.
Yeah, that's very much what I think.
Well, but then the question becomes, though, is will Sword and Shield break the get a game every year cycle, if that's the case? If they add more to Sword and Shield over the course of the year?
Well,
because that's a lot. I mean, if you're saying even if it was 20 Pokemon a month, that is a lot to be adding for 12 months.
Yeah.
And so,
well, they do have another Pokemon series game. It's called the Let's Go series.
Yep.
I guarantee that's being worked on. And when you
Detective
have the
Pikachu sequel.
Yeah, got the Detective Pikachu sequel. That's made by Creatures.
Still.
So yeah, but no, you have these additional Pokemon franchise games that you can rely on the off years. I think that the plan was always to introduce Let's Go as a casual Pokemon game that would act as a second series of games for them. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 2020 we get Pokemon Let's Go Johto. The assets would already be done. Because they're making assets for both games. And so, that part of the job will already be done if they're pumping out 20 Pokemon a month or whatever. So, I think that would be fine.
After people play Sword and Shield, though, do you think there's going to be an appetite for a Let's Go Johto?
I think so, for the nostalgia.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think there was going to be an appetite for Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, and I was wrong. I was super wrong. People love that game.
But I think a lot of that was because it looked way different than Sun and Moon did. And so I think my concern is that once you go into the world and the visuals of Sword and Shield, can you go back?
I think so. I mean, my 4-year-old plays Pokemon Let's Go. He's not going to play Pokemon Sword and Shield. He can do literally everything in Pokemon Let's Go. He couldn't do everything in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And so, I think that there is definitely an appetite for that more casual gamer, the people who don't have the time to collect them all, but, can go and play a remake, get that nostalgia fix, sit down, play it with their kids, or, enjoy kind of the more cosmetic stuff. Like, I want to play with Pikachu. I want my Pikachu to sit on my shoulder this entire time. You're not going to get that with Sword and Shield, but you'll get that with Pokemon Let's Go, whatever the next game will be.
Yeah. And again, to kind of relate it, like the Let's Go, like E3, Nintendo's doing this again with Link. We're going to have a Breath of the Wild sequel eventually, but we're going to have Link's Awakening, which is a direct remake with just dungeon additions. So it's going to pull in those nostalgic players, even though they still have the Game Boy game. So
yeah,
I think
and it's a and that's the thing. I think Nintendo really wants to keep those popular games in circulation. I mean, they straight up said, well, it's been 26 years since you could play Link's Awakening. So we wanted to make sure people could play that game. People like that game. So we'll get the same thing. I mean, it's been 15 years since we got Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So
is there a Pokemon that if it is not included in Sword and Shield, you guys will be super sad about?
Vaporeon.
You're getting Vaporeon. That's a
that's the thing. Like the Bulbasaur, but even if we don't get we'll get Bulbasaur. He's already animated. We'll get all 151.
Is he? Is he animated though?
Yes, he was in Let's Go.
But they're not taking the Let's Go animations.
They are.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
No, I missed that.
Yeah, it's the same
They look
animation.
different.
Not that different. I mean, the people look different. The Pokemon don't look different.
Mm.
I mean, it's the people. Like you're not going to be running around with this like oversized head character. I mean, that's the big thing. That's how Pokemon Sword Let's Go was you had this massive head running around, and they did away with that. But the Pokemon are the same.
All I know is I'm on the Vaporeon Protection Squad.
Yeah. Vaporeon will be fine unless they totally cut out Eevee, which would be the dumbest thing that the Pokemon Company would ever have to do. Is let's get rid of Eevee, like the second most popular Pokemon of our franchise. That'd be like, oh yeah, we have this Pokemon game that doesn't have Pikachu. Like, what's even the point?
I will just admit, like, I wasn't super mad about the national dex because I knew it was going to happen at some point, and I've never been a person who's ever cared to do the national dex. I always try to just get the regional and focus my team on that for whatever reason. But if they got rid of Eevee, it's over. I'm rioting. I will make
All right.
an online
Then I'm
petition.
going to change my question and say, outside of the 151, if there's a Pokemon they don't include, would you be unhappy for?
Not really. I mean, some of the ones I would be kind of annoyed about, like Lucario, we know is already in the game. I mean, I think they know which Pokemon they need to have. Not all Pokemon are created equally. There's 900 Pokemon. Like, I don't need, like, some random, like, Finneon or something like that. Like, I don't care about that. Like, any Gen 5 Pokemon, I don't care about them. Like, there's, like, 2 that I like.
All those Gen 5 stands about to come after Christian.
That
is Seahoffer C-Bus on Twitter.
Yes. Direct all complaints.
Direct all Gen 5 complaints to Christian.
Those are good games. Those are good games. It's just, like, that was one of those things where it's like they stretched a little too thin on those Pokemon. There's like 126 of them or something like that. There's a ton of new Pokemon. There's just too many. Just too many.
Do we think all the legendaries will be available?
No.
I doubt it. I just know they better have Bearware, which is not a legendary, but it's literally all I care about.
Yeah, Beware. Is it Bearware? Is that how you call it? Say it?
I've always said Bearware. I know it's Beware.
Is it Beware?
Yeah.
But I always called it Bearware because I was like, that's funnier.
I was about to say, did I miss something in the anime?
No, Bearware.
See, that's why I was making sure we all said Kyogre the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kyogre, Suicune.
Yeah.
Suicune.
Nah.
Hey, did you know that if you like our show, you can leave us a review on the show? And I don't know why I have Snapchat open. I'm trying to pull up a review to read. If we read your review on the air, if you leave us a 5-star review and we read it in an episode, you can hit us up on Twitter, email, or whatever. You can go editor at Comicbook.com. And we will send you a Comicbook.com shirt. I am working on trying to get a Wild Podcast Has Appeared shirts made.
Yes.
I just got some Comic Book Nations one made. And so this is just the next step sort of in that process. We have quite a few over the last week, 2 since our last episode, which is really, really cool. I am going to read one of them and save the other one for next week, just in case. And this one, because I loved the subject, Professor Oak Approved Podcast by Seaco's 1993. I look forward to this podcast every week. I religiously keep up with all things Pokemon, so it's nice to know I am not the only one. The Pokefacts are great. I love this podcast more than Spioink loves its Pearl, and more than Poliwag loves flashing its insides. Listen to the episodes to understand that one. Thank you. That is how someone that we know has gone through, has either listened from the very beginning or heard us talk about it, went back, listened to some old episodes, and got him some good Pokemon knowledge.
Yeah.
So thank you, Seaco's 1993. That was a great review.
That was a 5 out of 5 review.
5 out of 5 review.
Thank you very much for that.
And with that, Christian, what's our fact of the week?
All right, I'm ready.
So, this is quite possibly, I got inspired here by the 6-word horror story hashtag that was going around on Twitter. While we don't have one of those in the Pokedex, we do have an incredibly short but creepy story. And the question is this: what Pokemon was once a human child?
I think I maybe know this.
I don't. Do you know this one?
I don't know, and I don't want to look stupid.
Well, we have to guess. So I'm going to let you go first this time.
I
I mean, there's a couple of possible answers here. So
want. I feel
the
like
thing.
I feel like someone told me it was once like Mimikyu, but
no, that's a different ghosty, creepy thing, which we'll want to do. You got to guess, Jim?
I mean, I want to guess one of the ghost type Pokemon, so I'm going to
It
go
is not
Ghastly. It's not a ghost.
It's not a ghost type Pokemon. Although there is Phantom, which is I almost used the Phantom one this week. Which Phantom is actually the souls of lost children in the woods. Which that's super creepy.
Yikes.
But no, this is actually not a dead child. This is a child transformed into a Pokemon. In Pokemon Fire Red, there's a Pokedex entry that reads something along the lines of, "It happened one day. A young child with extrasensory powers turned into a Kadabra." And that's the Pokedex entry.
Okay.
That's the entire Pokedex entry. Is just
So it's not even an Abra that evolved into a Kadabra. It's just a kid transformed into a Kadabra.
Yep, he had ESP and like some like Frank Kafka metamorphosis type stuff. You know, he just one day woke up and he was a Kadabra.
But then where does Abra? I don't want to go down this rabbit hole.
This is
Yeah, I mean
so
yeah,
okay. Well, so that's just one Kadabra. One Kadabra out there used to be a human.
Yeah, well, it happened at least once. Who
At
knows
least
how
once.
many times it happened to? Maybe that was the first Kadabra, and he like hooked up with the Ditto.
No, we're good. We are good ending this conversation right now before we get a restricted rating.
Oh, all right. Well, there we go. That's a fun one. I enjoy that. That's a good one to tell at a dinner party.
Yeah. We'll bounce back to a non-creepy one next week.
Here's the thing with these things. Sometimes I don't really know how to transition out of these because I am just so shell-shocked.
I don't know where we go from this because every implication from this story is disturbing.
I'll tell you where we'll go. We're going to go to iTunes or to Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and I'm going to make sure that I am subscribed to this podcast. If I'm not, it'd be really bad of me not to be. But then I'm going to take the link and send it to my friends, send it to my family. I'll probably post it on Facebook and say, hey, this is a podcast that we do. You should listen to it. And then I would remind my friends that if you left a 5-star review on iTunes and we read it on the air, you get a free t-shirt. This show comes out every Thursday, so make sure you come back here next Thursday, same time, same place. Megan will not be back from Anime Expo. That's not until like July, right?
That's the first week of July.
First week of July. So we got some time.
Yeah, I'm still here. Haven't left you.
We'll be talking about the North American Pokemon Championships because
Yes, we will.
love it.
All right.
I'm bringing my kiddo to meet Pikachu.
That's
The
exciting.
dream, truly.
Yep.
I like how it was Nashville Worlds was here.
Yeah, this year Worlds I think is in DC.
Yeah.
And,
Worlds was in Nashville, but you get Nationals in Columbus.
Yeah.
So that's
Nationals
nice.
is usually either in Indianapolis or Columbus.
Are there any cool exclusives at Nationals or?
Any exclusives? We'll get a like some sort of Pokemon that you can stick in Pokemon Sun and Moon. But other than that, no,
Well, no,
don't
I just
think-
meant more like because I imagine they'll have a Pokemon Center there, right?
Yeah. It won't be like what they do with the Worlds. They don't promote it as heavily. Actually, last time I went to Nationals, they didn't have a Pokemon Center.
Oh,
Yikes.
They did a few years ago. Not the last time it was here in Columbus, but the second to last time.
because for
it was
Worlds I
here.
got my Pikachu playing. I get to playing his guitar.
Yeah, they had a
Yeah,
rhinestone cowboy
Cool.
Pikachu.
They don't make the cool merchandise for Nationals like they do for Worlds, but you'll still be able to get a lot of Pokemon merchandise there if they have the Pokemon Center, which I hope they do. But they'll at least have Pikachu and probably Eevee, so it'll be worth it just to go down and show my kid that.
Sweet.
There you go.
All right. Well, there we go. Totally derailed me, but that's okay. because now, oh, right. Duh. Every Thursday. So next week we're going to talk about Nationals. Christian will be there. We'll talk about his experience there. And I'm sure something will upset Pokemon fans about Sun and Moon that we'll get to talk about next week. With that, you can find me on Twitter at Jim Viscardi.
I am at Megan Peters CB.
And I am at Seehofer Cbus.
Which is for Columbus. Because that's where
Which
Christian
is for.
lives.
And remember, we said direct all complaints to
All
Hoffer.
Gen 5 complaints go to Hoffer. Anything else? You want to talk
am-
about Pokemon Go? You want to talk about Sword and Shield stuff? You can hit Megan and I up. All your Gen 5 hate goes to...
I can talk about nice things too. Give me some nice things.
I don't trust you. You
Bulbasaur. Talk to him about Bulbasaur.
You are probably the more shining guiding light of the three of us. So, we'll go with that. All right, we got to get out of here. We will see you next time. Thanks, folks.